Thanks for joining me today, Tsahi.
Thanks, Arin.
So a couple of interesting things have happened in the real-time communication world news recently. First is that Skype is shutting down.
Yep.
I can't say I'll exactly miss it, but I do have fond memories of using it. I think realistically, I'm not sure I could have started my business without it 15 years ago. What are your thoughts on Skype being shut down?
Well, I'll start with, for me, it's slightly different because Skype was a kind of, not exactly a competitor, but they changed the market. I used to work at Radvision at the time, and we did, voice over IP, video conferencing systems, and all of the protocol stacks. And then comes this small company and does things that actually work out of the box everywhere, without us in the middle. So it wasn't that fun. So my memories of them aren't that fun. They lasted longer though. So, they have that. I guess the fact that they shut down, why only now? That's the main question, because I don't think that Microsoft gave it any love and attention for the last 5-6 years at least.
Yeah.
Even during the pandemic, nobody cared about Skype at that point in time.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem as if it's going anywhere. And when Microsoft actually did something, it was Microsoft Teams. It wasn't Skype.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they made a definite branding and product shift, a whole strategic shift, and I mean, for me, anyways, I've always thought of. I know Skype has video, but I've always thought of it as more of an audio tool, because that is how it started. That's how we used it in my company. We were working remotely, teams in the U.S. and Latin America, clients in the U.S., and we got them involved in daily meetings with clients. It was all 100% over Skype. For years, we did that before WebRTC came along and before other tools became more accessible and started to, do a better job with video in particular. And then we switched to video calls. But, it's I have one use that I still use Skype for. I have a Spanish teacher who I take lessons with, and we've been talking for 10 years together, and she just always uses Skype. So I guess we're going to be switching to WhatsApp now. But it's funny, when I look in that tool, when I go to talk to her, I can still see some historical chats from like 10 years ago in our business. So it is a milestone, definitely.
Yep.
But interesting, how they've done a better job with Teams, it seems.
Yes, I think the deterioration started with the iPhone, if you think about it. When iPhone opened for apps in iPhone 3 or whatever, they were not the first ones. They were never the best ones. And they did a crappy job it's like one of the things that they've done there was take whatever they did on desktop and copied it there verbatim. Whatever was done there was the same thing. And from the protocol's perspective, it meant that they always had the connection to their server and all of the signaling were there, and that killed the battery even if you didn't use the application. And that was at a time where push notifications started to become a thing, so you don't need to do that exactly. And it took them too long to actually go and fix that. And I think that was what eventually killed them. They didn't do the shift towards mobile in the way that other companies did.
And now Teams handles everything in the Microsoft universe. Much more solid communications platform, as well as integration with all of their LLMs, and those were certainly not a thing that Skype was going to do. And the distinction between Skype and Skype for Business was never a very strong distinction to me either, personally, anyways. I feel like it was a bit inevitable. It would be interesting to know more about why they chose now as opposed to, frankly, in the past. But
that's easy.
Okay.
Everyone is shutting down something. Even the US government.
It's just socially acceptable right now.
Yes, exactly. If you look at it, in the last year, companies started shutting down things that they think are not making enough money. We had one example that wasn't a good one, which is Twilio programmable video. They sunset that, and then they reneged, and they came back from that decision. Before it actually was done. So the damage was done because they said that they're going to throw that away. And then they assumed that this is not the thing that they should be shutting down.
Yeah.
So it's not as if other companies in this space don't go and shut down things because they don't
Sure.
succeed, they're not big enough, they're not making the money that they should. So I don't think that there is a lot of difference here.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think in this case, unlike Twilio, I don't think we'll see Skype come back from
No.
the dead. I think
Nope.
this one's for good. Now, there was another meeting tool shutdown announcement recently that AWS, Amazon Chime, is being shut down as a tool. Now, to be clear, there's a distinction here. They've always had two distinct products, basically the Amazon Chime SDK, which you can use to build your own real-time communications applications, also integrates with Amazon Connect, their call center solution, and then Amazon Chime as a desktop and mobile tool, which obviously was built on top of the SDK, but kind of managed distinctly within the company. And Amazon Chime, the tool only, is shutting down. The SDK remains in operation, and they've said that there's going to be no changes with that. So yeah, another tool shut down, and they're recommending that their users switch over to Zoom a little bit like Twilio did as well.
Well, they're also saying you can move to Wicker and Zoom and Slack.
Okay, so a few more options there.
Yes.
Yeah.
The title was Zoom in the one of the announcement, one of the news, the post on news websites, but it
that
wasn't.
Would grab the headlines.
Yes, in the actual announcement, it was you can use Wicker, which is Amazon, you can use Slack, and you can use Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. So you could still build with the Amazon Chime SDK if which is a pretty powerful SDK, and certainly if you want to keep things within the AWS universe, that's the way to go. But yeah, they're shutting down the tool there. Another interesting choice. Any thoughts on why they did that? Just same math, basically. Wasn't making enough money, probably.
Yes, and again, they have Wicker and they have Chime. Why have both?
Right.
Now, why didn't they kill Wicker and they killed Chime? I don't know. I don't know the numbers, but it probably was because of the differentiation between the two. Chime was there to replace Zoom. Wicker was there to compete with Signal or whatever. So the more secure alternative. So I think they just didn't see enough differentiation in there, and they didn't see a path to competition in this market. At least not at the size of Amazon.
That makes sense. Yeah, and Amazon in general, they're really good at the infrastructure, not necessarily known as as the UI company, right? And I think that for me, anyways, as a user of Amazon Chime at times in the past, I was never really crazy about the user interface on it. I like the SDK. I think they've done a nice job. And we've built applications with that at WebRTC.Ventures. When I used Chime as a tool, it was usually because I was talking with someone at AWS. Or because we wanted to show a prospective client like the quality of the Chime SDK, which you could see through the tool. Yes. But as a tool itself, I never, fell in love with its user interface, and that matters a lot in these. So maybe they're sticking to what they're good at, which is great infrastructure.
The other part of it is, on one hand, they're not dog fooding anymore, so they're not the customer of their own stack.
Right.
Which is bad. On the other hand, they're not going to compete directly with the product that you're going to build on top of their SDK, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, which one do you prefer?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, any other thoughts you have on this? Does this lead you to any other thoughts about sort of consolidation in general of meeting tools, and where opportunities remain for more custom applications?
I think it's just house cleaning season. I mean, we're what, in the third year of a recession that nobody wants to say that it's a recession, with companies shifting their own budgets to things that make money now and not in the future, and putting less money in research or in things that are not for the here and now.
Yeah.
So now they're getting to the actual tools and looking not only at are they breaking even or making money as a tool, but what's their margin? How much money are they making versus the whole other part of the business? And is it worthwhile keeping that, or just when you just throw it into the garbage bin and move on?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
If you're going to do research and speculative work, it's probably more around the LLMs than it is a lot of the communication tools, assuming that you are building a standard meeting use case. There's not a whole lot of need for more meeting tools, but there's still plenty of need for unique workflows around the use of video in an app, in a business workflow, I mean to say. And that's where the custom work comes in. That's where the SDKs still come in. But just building a meeting tool for the sake of a meeting tool, not a super glamorous thing.
Yeah, but still fun.
But still fun. That's right. Absolutely. All right. Well, as always, Tsahi, thanks for sharing your insights with us today. For more information about Tsahi's work, you can check him out at bloggeek.me. To learn more about future episodes of WebRTC Live, check us out at WebRTC.Ventures. Thanks, Tsahi.
Thanks, Arin.
Thanks for joining us for WebRTC Live. Visit our website at WebRTC.Ventures to learn more about our custom design and development services, and to learn more about upcoming episodes of WebRTC Live.